All right, we're in Algebra 1. We're on lesson 2-6. We're doing equations with variables on both sides. So again, we always return to this metaphor of a scale, of a perfect balance. So when I have this perfect balance, I've already set this up for us to make it look nice and neat and tidy. So we have variables y on the left, variable y on the right, with numbers on both sides. We have 3 kilograms on the left. We have 6 plus 1, so 7 kilograms on the right. And we need to figure out how many kilograms this y block is. And it's not x this time. It can be any letter that you want it to be. So we need to turn this into an equation just to see what the metaphor looks like. So can someone give me a quiet raised hand? How do I turn this into an equation? What does it look like? With y's, with adding numbers, with an equal sign representing the scale. Is there anyone that wants to take a guess as to what our equation is going to be? Still thinking about it. I have 3 of these y's on the left-hand side, and I have 3 of these 1's. No? Fernando, you want to guess? Take a guess.
Wait, and what you take away to make it balance?
Just turn this into an equation. Like, what is the equation out here? You'll have 3y, something, something, something. No? All right, I'll go ahead and do it for us just to get us started. It is right early in the morning. So I have 3 of these y's. So you're writing this down with me. 3 y's. I also have this other 3 amount. So I'm going to add another 3. That's on the left-hand side. Here's the right-hand side. They're balanced, so I'm going to have the balance be the equal sign. And then I have 1 of these y's on the right-hand side, so I could say 1y, or I could just say y. And I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so y and 7, or y plus 7. This is what this metaphor looks like. So we have a scale and an equation. All right, so now we somehow need to get just y by itself. We can take away y's, we can take away numbers. Does anyone have a good first step for us in terms of a scale or the equation? Either one is fine. I see Andres has a hand, Sergio has a hand. Any other hands? Fernando has a hand. Sergio.
I don't want to get it wrong.
You'll still get the XP though.
No, it's good.
You don't want to do it? No? All right, Fernando.
Take away 3 of the blocks.
Take away 3 of the blocks on which side?
Each side.
On each side. Okay, so here's 1, 2, 3. I'm taking them off of it and I'm putting them off to the side or something, or holding them in my hand. I'm going to take off 3 on this side as well. So I'm going to take off 1, 2, 3, like that. All right. We've taken off 3 blocks, and that corresponds to doing what on the equation side? So let me come back and give Fernando some XP for participating. What does that mean that we're doing over here on the right-hand side, Andres? If I'm taking off 3 from the left and the right, what am I doing to the equation? Yeah, go for it, Andres.
Subtracting 3 on both sides.
Yeah, subtract 3 on both sides. -3, -3. And we have this new equation. The 3 and -3 turn into a 0. So I have 3y plus 0, or they just cancel out. I'm just left with nothing there, is equal to, I have this y. Nothing happened to that y, so I still can rewrite that y underneath. I'm going to pause here and make sure that everyone has seen this step by step. The y, nothing happened to the y. Now I have 7 minus 3, that's 4, so I'm going to say plus 4. All right, so that's what this metaphor of the scale looks like right now. What's going on? So many notifications all at once. People are using their powers and it just all caught up now. A bunch of people use Or of the Ears and Protect One. All right. So now what do I do to both sides? I have 3 of these y's, I have 1 of these y's, I have 4 of these 1 kilogram blocks. What's a good next step? Again, if I take off the same 1 kilogram block and the same 1 kilogram block, as long as they're the same, I can take them both off the scale and then place them on the side. I can do that with the variables also. Variables. So what should our next step be in terms of the scale? Anyone have a good idea? Thinking about it? Hopefully we're not just passively hoping that someone else gets it, just waiting for the answer. We're thinking about how we could do this. All right. I'll give us the answer. I can take off this y block right here, and maybe I should do it in a different color here. I'll do it in red. We can take off this y block here, and we can take off a y block there. As long as we remove the same thing from both sides, we know that the scale will not change. It won't tip. This side won't go down or up. This side won't go down or up. So I'm going to take off this y, and I'm going to take off this y. The equality is still true. I can take off the same size block on both sides. So go ahead and cross those off. What does that mean that I'm doing in my equation with a quiet raised hand? I see Sergio knows. Anyone else know? What does taking off a y block and a y block on my scale correspond to for the equation? What does it mean I'm doing with my equation? I still only see Sergio's hand. I want to see more hands. If I'm taking away a y on both sides. All right, go for it, Sergio.
Minus y both sides.
Yeah, minus y on both sides. So minus y, and we'll see what we get. Okay, well, y minus y on the right-hand side, those cancel each other out. There's no more y's. In fact, I can just count what I have on the right-hand side. I've crossed out the y's, those 3 blocks. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4. I only have 4 blocks left, and that makes sense because I only have this 4 on the right-hand side. So that's the only thing that I have left. And then I have my scale, so an equal sign. And then I need to figure out what 3y minus y is. And if you don't remember how to combine like terms, you can just count how many of the y's we have on our scale. Can someone tell me how many y's I have on my scale? Montse? I have 2 y's, yeah. And Sergio, did I give you? I did not. So Sergio, there's your 50, and Montse, there's your 50. All right, and now I'm really close. I have 2 y's on the left, and I have 4 of these blocks on the right. This is an equation that we've done since like 2-2. What do I do to both sides of the scale? What do I do to both sides of the equation? Either of those will work. I see the same 3 people participating. I see Andres, Montse, and Sergio. Can I get someone new, hopefully? Yeah, there it is, Jose. Divide by 2 on both sides. So divide by 2, and that's the equivalent of taking half on both sides of my scale. I'm going to take half of the y's, so I'm going to take half, and I'm left with just 1 y. I'm going to take half of the 1's, which means I'm going to cross out those 1's, because half of 4 is 2, and I'm left with those 2. And Jose, what does that mean I'm left with in my equation?
Y.
So those cancel out. Y is equal to 2. And then, box your answer. Oops, got a little bit of lag there. Y is equal to 2. And you can see on the scale for my balance, this y block is left, this 2 blocks are left, so I can tell that y exactly weighs 2 kilograms. All right, we have a total of 3 examples and then some general tips at the very end to help you out if you're still struggling. So let's do example 1 together. And let me come back and give Jose his XP before I forget. All right, example 1, solve for b. So again, I have this scale. I have b's on the left, b's on the right. I have numbers on the left, numbers on the right. What should I do to both sides? I need a quiet raised hand to help me through this. What should I do to both sides? I'm trying to solve for b, to get b by itself. Sergio has an idea for a first step. There are a lot of different first steps that you can take. I see Cohen has his hand raised. Andres has his hand raised. Anyone else for first step? All right, Cohen.
-1 on both sides.
-1 on both sides?
No.
No. Oh, hold on. All right, so I see Sergio. I heard him say no. Sergio, why are you saying no?
-1, then it has to be like +2.
Oh, it has to be the inverse of -1. All right, so Cohen, tell me again what this should be then? Add 1, okay. So you're doing the inverse operation, so you're saying add 1 here. So, Cohen, you still get the points for doing this?
Attention students, if any of you would like to take a remake of your picture, you need to come to the office right now. Thank you.
All right, see it, yep. What's up?
I would like to take a retake of my picture.
All right, go do it. Watch the video when you're done. All right, so we added 1 to both sides. That means that my +1 and -1 will cancel each other out. and I'm left with, I have this 3b. That 3b did not go anywhere. 3b plus nothing is 3b. Notice that I'm always writing plus 1 underneath the other number. I'm not writing plus 1 underneath the 3b. 8 plus 1 is 9. I have this equal to sign. This 1 and negative 1 cancel each other out. I'm left with 6b on the left or on the right. All right, that was a good first step. I need another step now. I'm trying to isolate b. I need to do something with the b's now. I need to get b's just on the same side. Jose, divide by 3 on both sides. So you can do that, and you'll have to be a little bit careful about how you do that. If you divide on both sides, what you're really doing is dividing every single term by 3, and you can do that if you want. So if we divide every single thing by 3, then, Jose, tell me what I have left.
The 3 cancel out.
Okay, you're left with b. 9 divided by 3 equals to, what is this thing? 2b. Perfect. Yeah, that's a good step. Let me come back here. Jose. 50 XP. Yeah, make sure if you're dividing both sides, you're actually dividing every single term by 3. All right, I'm getting closer and closer. I need to somehow get the b's on the same side now. What should I do to both sides? Only one person has an idea. Think about it, think about it. Time to digest, time to think. Fernando?
Minus b on both sides.
Minus b. So what do I have then, Fernando?
3 equals b.
3 is equal to b because b minus b cancel each other out. 2 minus 1, 2b minus 1b is, I shouldn't cross it out, but that gets to b, and that's my final answer. I will make a note also. You didn't have to divide each term by 3. Let me show you a different way of doing it really quickly on the side. So over here, I have the same equation, 3b plus 9 is equal to 6b. This is the part where you get to decide if you want to copy this down or not. This is optional to write down your notes. You can either sit back and pay attention, or you can copy it down with Mr. Sindel. It's up to you. What I could have done here is I could have subtracted both sides minus 3b. Minus 3b here, minus 3b here. By doing that, that would cancel out the 3b's, so positive 3b minus 3b, that goes away. I'm left with this positive 9 on the left, and then 6b minus 3b would be 3b. And then here, I'm still going to have to divide by 3, very similar to what Jose told us to do over here. Jose's step of dividing by 3, we're still going to have to divide by 3, and I'm going to do that right now. B is being multiplied by 3. I'm going to undo that inverse operation, divide by 3, and I'm left with B, because the 3 cancels out, is equal to 3. The same answer. So there are 2 different ways of solving that problem. There's actually an infinite number of ways of solving that, but those are the 2 common ways of doing it. All right. Are there questions about example 1 before we move to example 2? For example 2, I'm going to be cold calling on people that have not participated. So Jessica, Jennifer, and Julian, be careful. I'm probably going to call on you. That was in the notes that you guys gave me to grade. You need to be calling on people that don't participate as much. I'm calling on you if you don't raise your hand. You might as well raise your hand so I don't have to call on you when you're not ready. Example 2, solve for n. All right, this one. This one is going to be a little bit tricky because we'll see what we do. All right, first step, quiet raised hand. I'm calling on someone new. So between those 3 names, hopefully one of them is going to be new. What should I do to both sides? Actually, yeah, I don't know. All right, Jessica, give it your best shot.
Minus 6 on both sides.
-6 on both sides. Here we go. -6, -6. So when I do that, these 6's cancel out. And Jessica, can you read for me what I should have on the left-hand side? n plus 3. Or n, yeah, thank you. There you go. Jessica, 50 XP. That means there are a few less people to call from, but I'm going to call from one of you new people. All right. What do I do now? What's my next step? Yeah, there it is, Jennifer. Minus n on both sides, and notice that I'm writing it underneath the n values. All right, so Jennifer, tell me what to write here on the left-hand side.
N.
3n, yeah, thank you. All right, we are really close. And I should say that this happened here. These canceled each other out. All right. I'm going to go ahead and do this step for us. This is just called simplifying the expression. The expression is the left-hand side, 2 plus 3. I know, because I can do math really well, that 2 plus 3 is 5. I'm pretty smart, right? Is equal to 3n. I'm just simplifying that a little bit more. I'm simplifying the expression on the left-hand side of the equality. And now, I'm going to get a fraction for my answer, so don't be scared by that. It doesn't come out to a nice number, but that happens sometimes. In fact, it happens more often than not. What am I going to do for my final step? And it's going to go to Julian. Both sides by 5. All right, so I'm going to go here, divide that side by 5, that side by 5, and Julian, read to me what I should have. Is equal to n, like that. All right, and then there is a small error, but you still get your XP for trying. So Julian, if you want to try to catch your own error, then you can get even more XP. All right, thank you for trying. Fernando, talk to me.
Only divide both sides by 3.
Why did you divide both sides by 3 instead of by 5?
I don't know.
All right. I can still give you points because that's the correct answer, but I need the correct answer also so someone else can get that 50 XP also. Andres, talk to me. Why do you divide both sides by 3 instead of by 5?
Because you have to get the n by itself.
Exactly. I have to isolate the n. I have to get that n by itself. So if I come back here, if I instead divide by 3, this 3 and 3 will cancel each other out to get n by itself. So divide both sides by 3, copy down the equal sign. This 3 and 3 cancel each other out. I'm just left with n. That's what it means to solve for n. It means get n by itself. And then I'm left with 5/3. I can leave it as an improper fraction with the bigger number on top. That's okay. And I'm going to box my final answer. Thank you, Andres. Oops. You got a little bit more XP because I accidentally clicked on stuff. All right. Are there any questions on example 2? Jose? Yeah, question?
You can't really label it was Julian 5. You can't really divide 3 and 5 2.
So you're talking about Julian's step when he was dividing both sides by 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're just talking about how 3 divided by 5 didn't come out to a nice number? Yeah, exactly. That's another way of explaining it. Give you some XP for that. All right. Let's go to the back. We have one more example and then some general tips. For example 3, I want us to start by simplifying the expression on the left and the right. Maybe it can be simplified, maybe it's already simplified, but maybe we can simplify it even more. So I'll give you this hint also. One of these sides can be simplified, one of them is already simplified. So everyone has already participated, so it's free game now. I'm just going to call on whoever raises their hand. Which side can be simplified, and then how do I simplify it? There's 2 questions that you need to answer. I see Fernando and Sergio, our powerhouses, have their hands raised. I'm going to give it to Sergio.
You add 5k, negative 5k to 9.
Okay, and then what do you get?
4k.
4k, yeah. So I'm going to combine this term and this term to get 4k, and then I'm going to rewrite the rest of my expression. 4k plus 22 is equal to negative 4k plus 6. So I'm going to come back over here. Sergio, give you your XP. So I'm rewriting my expression, but I combine like terms, this negative 5k and this 9k to get 4k here. That should be your first step in every single case where you're solving an equation. Try to simplify it before you go too far so you don't make it too hard on yourself. All right. What is my next step? Quiet raised hand. I only see one hand. I see Jose's hand. I see Fernando's hand. Jose. Minus 6 on both sides. Minus 6 here. Minus 6 here. And tell me what you get on both sides.
6 and 6 cancel out. That is 4k plus 16.
Plus 16. 4k. All right. This one's going to be a little bit tricky. Thank you, Jose. The next step is going to be tricky here. What is my next step? And I still see some people writing, which means I haven't given you enough time to think. What is the correct next step? Again, solving for k means getting k by itself on one side and then getting it by itself with no number in front. So I see Andres' hand, I see Sergio's hand, Fernando. Fernando, go for it.
Minus 4k.
Minus 4k on both sides?
Yeah.
All right. Why did you subtract 4k on both sides instead of adding 4k? What is your logic behind that?
Because the 4k is already a positive.
So, you're trying to get rid of this 4k to move it to that side.
Yeah.
Okay. Why are you moving this 4k instead of moving this 4k? You had the answer correct, but I just want to hear why you decided to do that.
Because wouldn't you get the k by itself? I don't know.
Oh, by itself on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So in order to get k on the other side, I have to move this k over here. Exactly. If I move this k over here, they would both be on the same side, and I would be left with 0 on the right-hand side. So that's the correct idea. You want to make sure that the k's are on the other side and the numbers are on the other side. So I guess that doesn't really make sense. But numbers and variables should be on either side of each other. So minus 4k on both sides. And then Fernando, help me by telling me what to write here.
Negative 8k.
So I have a negative 8k where?
Oh, on the right hand side.
Okay, negative 8k on the right-hand side
And then 6 equals 16.
is equal to 16, and that's because the 4k and minus 4k cancel each other out. Fernando, did you catch an error?
No.
Or sorry, Sergio, you are ready to just do the next step?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to wait here to let other people think too. All right, Andres, you're up.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
For Fernando's step, can you also do plus 4k? Because like then you can add 4k on the other side and then instead of 4k being on that side, it could just be k. Or I mean 0. Wait,
0.
Never mind.
So why are you saying never mind?
Because I just realized that it was wrong.
It is wrong. Tell me why. Just keep talking.
Because you wouldn't have k anymore on the other side.
Yeah, so exactly. So we wouldn't have k anymore. We just have an expression on the right is equal to 0. And technically you're not doing anything mathematically wrong by doing that. It just makes it harder to solve. Yeah, and that's really awesome that you were able to say your thoughts out loud. Yeah, thanks. All right, next step here. We'll give it to Sergio.
Divide negative 8 on both sides.
Divide both sides by negative 8.
And the other ones cancel out.
So these guys cancel each other out.
K equals negative 2.
K is equal to negative 2, and
Box your answer.
box your answer. Very well done. There it is, Sergio. Thank you. All right, so those were 3 examples. You have 3 examples to look back at now when you're working on your homework. And here are some general tips to help you on your homework tonight. So, general tips. The first thing that you should always do is simplify both sides of the equation. I'm just going to say the equal sign. Start by simplifying. That should be your first step over and over. Maybe they're already simplified and you don't need to do that, but check. Maybe there's a k and a k on the left-hand side that you can combine. Maybe there is a number, a 2 and a 9, that you can immediately combine. Because if we did that immediately, we would be subtracting 6 from 11, and we wouldn't have to do this extra step down here. So simplify both sides of the equal sign. And then step 2, get all the variables on one side and the constants on the other side. And this refers back to what Andres found. Andres said, oh, you can't add 4k to both sides because then I'd have the variable on the same side as the constant. Again, constant, if you don't like that word, think of the number. Think of the word number. So if you don't like the word constant, just think of a number. The numbers on one side and the variables on the other. If you follow these 2 tips, it will save a lot of headaches, a lot of time, a lot of errors. But you still might make those errors, and by making those errors, you are learning. Are there any questions before we end the notes today? All right, go ahead and write your summaries.